Welcome to the Javier Mendez podcast. We are here with Coach Javier Mendez, and we're catching up to you in some very crazy times. First of all, we're seeing all this looting and stuff going around everywhere, and we're trying to make sense of it. And it's, you hear stuff about there's somebody trying to subvert, intermingle with the protesters who have all the right in the world to protest and trying to make them look bad by looting and stuff. It's just been all over the news. I mean, haven't you seen it everywhere you look, Hav?
I haven't been looking at the news very much. I've looked a little bit. I've read where individuals are paying people, to younger kids, to go and graffiti, loot, things of that nature. So they're being paid to do this, which is probably standard for something of this magnitude. A lot of people, they use the good of what is meant to be to turn into bad, to robbing, looting, destroying people's properties. It's pretty sad to think that human beings would actually take something that was meant to be good to turn into something bad. From what I hear, I think 13 people have died already, unnecessary. 13 people died, and thousands have been injured, and I believe close to $1 billion in property damage has already been done. I mean, when's enough? And these individuals that are doing it for the right reasons, I applaud you and keep doing what you're doing. And the other ones, I got to ask you why. What is it that you need to get accomplished through the destruction of America as America? I don't get it.
Yeah, I mean, we've already dealt with the corona. It's kind of like everybody being locked down. It didn't, a bad event was really easy to stoke, the powder keg. This has been something that's been underlying for a long time. This is very enraging to a lot of people that are fully entitled to it, but the corona didn't really help it at all because people just were primed, But as you said about the paid protesters, I gotta wonder, are some of those the ones that are supposed to peacefully protest, or there are some people inside, like you show up for your job, okay, I want you to be radical, I want you to screw stuff up? I mean, that's what needs to be discovered.
Well, it's a very obvious that it's happening. I mean, when it's happening in other parts of the world, the UK is going on. The UK is going on, I believe, in France. Come on, man. When is France ever interested in a situation like that? It's paid individuals to go form a strike over there. It's somebody's doing it. They're paying for it. And as the process of that's going on, you got the people that are taking advantage of it. I was told that in Santa Monica, there's a whole bunch of kids and skateboarders that are out there looting the place and just emptying them out, like store after store after store. They come in, break in, and they're skateboarders, and they come in looting, and then they've cleaned out shops, and do you think they give a fuck about this situation? No, they don't. They just, they're just looking at the situation for their own personal gain. And these individuals that are starting these riots, you think they care about the lives they're taking? No, they don't give a fuck either. All they want is their agenda. They're getting paid to do something, and now they're doing it. And the sad thing is there's so many people that are doing it for the right reasons, and then there's the people that are taking advantage of it, and that's the sad part, because the message is being heard. This will be handled, properly. And the police are, even I saw some of the things where the police are even marching with the protesters. They're even saying, we're on board with you. So this is not something that we need to go at odds with anybody. This is something that it just needs to be resolved in a peaceful way, and obviously the four individuals that did this, they need to be handled. Only one right now has been handled. The other three need to be handled too. Hey, they're responsible too. They're just as responsible. You can't think that oh, well, since I was the one that, hey, but you're supposed to protect and serve. Well, how'd you protect that poor guy's life? You didn't protect him. You did the opposite, and the other one was looking the other way, like trying to get the fans to go away, wouldn't pay attention as much to what his partners were doing. Again, it's a responsibility that when they become police officers, that's their sworn duty to protect. Well, they weren't protecting him.
I talked to a retired professional, 20 years in the force, police officer, and I asked him, what are your thoughts on it? He says, protocol is if this guy's getting too aggressive or too heated with the person he's trying to arrest, then somebody's supposed to tap him out. They're supposed to say, hey, come over here. Let's do this professionally. Let's come on, ease up on that guy. And so that's where you're saying they're complicit, and that makes sense because that's what protocol is. Just, I don't think you knew that, but I found that out the other day. I had a friend who went on a march in Santa Monica. She's from that area. She's an attorney, and she's got family of all races and colors. So she's not a one-sided person trying to get some forgiveness or anything. But ironically, she said she was marching and she would see these instigators pop into the crowd. These like hyped up kids, like, yeah, like trying to get people mad, and like they were looking to attack things or try to push the group in that direction, like being manipulated from within.
I was told they were paid about $200
Mm-hmm.
to disrupt it. So, like I said, this is a situation where it's a political um, political move, and it's sad that they're using such something that needs to be not used for that purpose, because they created more bad than the good, because this thing was going to be handled. It was going to be handled. Not too many people. A lot of my police buddies, they looked at this and go, "Dude, that guy's screwed. There's no way. He knows better. 19-year veteran, and you go and you do something like that. Maybe if he was a rookie, maybe you can but no, 19-year veteran. I'm sorry, no pass. So he's going to be fried, and the other three need to be fried too. I mean, just getting them fired is not good enough. It's not good enough. It's not, because look what it's caused: 13 deaths. I don't know how many police officers were in the death count, but I'm sure there's some of them that have died, and I'm sure there's some that may be soon to be dying. And 2,000 something injuries. Or arrested. I believe. I believe I read where there's 13 deaths attributed to this. That's one too many. One is too many. And it shouldn't have happened, but it's happened. And I just wish the people that are being paid the money to instigate these things, understand, or maybe hopefully somewhere down the line you understand what you did was wrong. What you ignited was the death of someone. It caused the harm to someone that was just there for the right reasons. You created something bad. It therefore created that person's shop to get robbed, burned, or that person to get beat as a result of your actions. And you need to be held accountable yourself for inciting a riot. And the people that are paying for this, I believe someone mentioned is the Soros group. I don't know anything about that. I just know that they're involved in doing these type of things, and to what degree I don't know. I have no knowledge of it whatsoever. I just heard, and I just read a little bit about it, and it doesn't sound good to me. If you're controlling the media to benefit you, it's not cool, man. It's not cool. It's like, here, look what I got over here. Look what I got over here. It's empty. And all of a sudden they're hitting you with the other one here because that one's not empty. That one's loaded, and that's kind of basically, in my opinion, what they're doing. They're saying, look what I got, and all of a sudden you don't know it, and over here, whack, you get whacked right there because you didn't see that one coming, but it was right here is what they're trying to say. But it's not. It's not. The protest is the protest, but they're coming out here and they're ambushing it, and other people that are legit thieves and robbers are out there taking advantage by burning things down. Maybe it's friends of friends or relatives of relatives that's been done wrong in the past, and they've taken that opportunity to take it out on the police station, the cars, whatnot, or maybe a shop, with these people that work their whole lives to put food on the table, and they're burning their shops. For what reason? Some people may be doing it because, hey, that guy did me wrong. This is a good opportunity for me to take care of him, and I'm not sure that's going on, but I would imagine that things like that are going on. It'd be hard not to think that some people are taking vengeance for past actions of a shop or everything. So it's just nasty all the way around. I think the cause is great. It's unbelievably great, but I think the actions of not the majority of the people, but the few that are turning this into a disaster, it's just despicable and should not be tolerated. And they should go to court. They should all be incarcerated as a result of what they're doing. That's not right, And what I find that's very ironic and interesting, that I woke up and I see Instagram with John Jones, and John Jones is out there and he's stopping these kids from spray painting and he's making them give him the can. I mean, my God, I go, wow, that's unbelievable gesture for someone of his magnitude to go out there, spend the time to actually do this. Whether someone put him up to it or not doesn't matter. He actually did it, and it looked like he had conviction. And telling these people to turn over their spray cans, and he wouldn't allow it to screw up his city. I mean, that right there is what needed to be shown more than anything else. What he did is what needs to be shown. That's the kind of things that need to be done, not the opposite.
Chuck Liddell did the same thing in Huntington Beach. I sent you the photo, but then I realized there was a video, and he was talking to people that were agitated down in Huntington Beach. He showed up and, was there to quell it, try to bring it down a notch. And maybe that impacts the reality. Like, wow, or what we doing that big, or is Chuck and John Jones actually talking some sense to me? Which they are. But this thing, they didn't discriminate. Like they didn't care if you had a black-owned business. Many black-owned businesses were burned down. The
No,
protesters weren't like,
this is what I'm trying to tell you. That this is supposed to be about Black Lives Matter, but people in the inner works are making it more than about Black Lives Matter, which is a sad thing, and it's a good thing. It's a good thing because it's paying attention, and it's going to put everybody on their toes about mistreating any individual of any race, so that's the good part. The bad part is innocent people are being injured and killed as a result of their actions, which have nothing to do with supporting Black Lives Matter. And that's all I'm saying. The Black Lives Matter, I think it's a great cause, and I think I'm all pro that. But it's the people that are doing the looting and the vandalizing, and burning the buildings, and causing harm to other people. That has nothing to do with this.
Yeah, I mean, it's like this, Hav. Let's say that you had a disagreement on, you drove up to the restaurant, you were unhappy with the way they cooked your pizza, and you're outside like, hey, I want to talk to you about this pizza. I jump out the other side and throw a rock through their window. You're like, oh crap, we got to get out of here. You're complicit, not knowing that I was going to do something crazy, and that's like what those protesters are doing to that situation.
Well, if you saw, I saw in one of the videos yesterday.
Not the protesters, but
protesters with guns.
The guys with bad intentions. That's what I meant to say.
Yeah, they were like they were out there loaded, rocking. It looks like they were going to break their windows, and then they saw the guns, and they decided, okay, well, we better not do this. Well, like they did the right thing for protecting their properties. Like, hey, they didn't attack nobody. They didn't. Those people with the guns did not try to instigate something. They just said, hey, don't fuck with us. We won't fuck with you, but don't fuck with us. We have nothing to do with this. Then they got that message clear. They got it clear. And that's what I'm talking about is those guys, why were they even a target to begin with? And let me tell you something. Have they been real targets? Guess what? People would have smashed you anyways, guns or no guns. You would have been smashed had that shop been a real target. So they weren't a real target. They were just in the way. People either being paid or just people that just angry people that don't belong in this type of protest.
I agree with you. I think that these people are trying to, whoever these people that are either being paid or have an angry issue, and they're trying to use these poor people's right to protest the Black Lives Matter, the people that, are family members or Black people that have been oppressed, using this platform to devalue what they're doing by joining in and throwing rocks and making them look bad. And then there's people that are getting caught up in the looting, and they're getting addicted to it because they've been locked up for 2 months. So it's easy to keep pushing those people like, go, go, go. And there's been threats. There's been threats all over where I live. I mean,
I'm not sure it's making them look bad. It's just getting the message across. Yeah. What I'm just saying is the innocent people don't need to be hurt in property and stuff. I think the fact that these individuals are coming on is making this message even loud and clear, that there's no toleration for it. But the over excess of how they're doing it is what I'm saying that should be stopped. Not the attention they're giving it to. The attention is fantastic, but it's the burning and the looting of businesses, and that's what's not acceptable to me ever. It never will be. These shops are not to blame for what's going on. And hey, look, listen, I hate to say it, but if they're burning police buildings, I'm not for that either. But at least that's who they're fighting.
Right.
That's who they're fighting. But not that I approve of it. I don't approve of that kind of action, because that type of action causes a reaction that's not favorable to you either. because when you're threatening their lives, they're going to threaten you with retaliation of the highest form, and that's guns. And you know, most people are not adequately able to handle what the police can give back.
Yeah, it's not even about acting out. It's like, okay, you think you've had a toilet paper shortage? Wait till you have a food shortage. Wait till you can't eat. You're making other families starve. Little kids go hungry. I heard there was two little kids trapped in a bathroom on a Target or something that was set on fire and that they might have died. That's what I read real briefly. I don't have the full facts on that, but that's the level of craziness that's going on with this, and that
Well,
needs to
that's
be
the kind of
stopped.
craziness, and that's what I'm talking about. Something like that should have never ever happened. And you know, shame on these organizers that are igniting these things like this, because they're, like I said, I was told that they're paid like $200. All these young kids they're given $200 to ignite these rallies, you know, and protesting, and even, you know, I don't know about the looting and stuff, but I'm imagining, based on what I was told, that that's what they did in Santa Monica. The skateboarders went in and looted the place, emptied them all out, all the stores, you know. And so I'm assuming that it's going on everywhere. You know, it's not just in Santa Monica that this happened. I'm imagining that this has happened everywhere, because that's what criminals do. They take advantage of a situation and for their benefit. And then the political activist people that are doing this, they got their benefit too. But you know, it's like, you know, couldn't you do it in a more peaceful way? Couldn't you structure that's the right way to go, instead of promoting what you're promoting? You're okay with all this violence, and they'll say no, they're not, but yet you caused it.
Yeah, it's hard to pull apart, but you know, if they start identifying the individuals, the mischief makers, the crime fire starters, all these people, there's a lot of cameras out there.
Yeah,
People
but
are starting to get arrested.
but the problem with that is you're not catching the main people that are paying for this. You're only catching people that they need a buck. That, hey, here you go. I mean, yeah, getting them is great, but you know what? It's nothing compared to the people that are really in charge and what's their agenda. I don't know. I just know that the people that are out there riding are not the people you need to get. They're the ones sitting somewhere else, you know, enjoying themselves and laughing it off at what they're creating, and thinking it's for a good cause, but they forget the casualties they've caused. And they're looking at it like, well, hey, you know, you got to have casualties in something you believe in. Well, you know what? Fuck you.
Yeah,
Because the way I look at it is, any death of someone that's innocent is like, you know, why don't somebody in your family die then, you know? And you think it's okay for death? It's not okay. Just like this poor guy that everybody's fighting for, you know? You think it's okay for him to be in this situation? You think his family appreciates what's going on? Do you think they'd rather have him back, or would they rather have him create what just happened? I think the family would go overwhelmingly, we rather have him back and nothing of this ever happened, you know. So nobody wants someone to lose their loved ones, you know. So it's just bullshit with people. They don't think about the consequences. They just think about actions that benefit their own personal pocketbook or their own personal hatred. And it's just sad that you're not thinking about the other people you're hurting, the people that are innocent, you know, that have nothing to do with any of this.
I want to take it out on a further thing that was told to me. I talked to a world-class journalist. I'm not going to throw his name out there, but he's out here filming it, watching it, and we talked a little bit. I go, what do you think? And he says, you know, they're trying to set up Trump. What they're trying to do is make it so he has to either overreact, and or if he doesn't react, look weak. If he overreacts, he looks bad. If he doesn't react, he looks weak. And that's where the tricky part of trying to put two walls around somebody. And man, you know, that's possible. That was his opinion. That was what I heard from a journalist.
That's more the agenda. That's what I'm trying to get at. It's not about that poor man that lost his life. It's not. The people that are legitimately protesting, yes, but the vast majority of them, no. And let's face it, in all honesty, you know, when Rodney King in 1992, you know, when they rioted all those areas over there, I believe it was close to $1 billion in damage, and something 200 something thousand, not 200,000, like 2,000 something arrests, and then there was 13 or so deaths too attributed to that. So this is quite right in line with that. The difference is, I bet you, if you look at the crowds back with the Rodney King, which was all justified more than this, and there was mostly black in the protesting. But if you look at this one, it's a lot of it's half white, if not over more than half white.
Yeah.
How's
Yeah,
that?
who are these
How's
guys?
that
Who
happen?
are who are these guys? You know what I'm saying? Where are they coming from?
It's great that they're out there, but what's their real purpose? Is what I'm saying. Were they paid to be out there? Where are they really legitimately interested in this cause? Because if that's the case, hey, I applaud you because that's the right reason to be there because it is the right cause. It is the right reason to protest, 100%. But why are you there? Is my question. Are you there for that reason? Or are you there to benefit because someone's paying you, or there's a bigger picture? Or is it what you're saying, the presidency? I wouldn't doubt that either. I would not doubt that at all. Not at all. The Soros guy, from what I just read real briefly, he's media mogul. So this guy's in charge of mostly every media outlet, and which explains why Trump gets attacked almost everywhere. And I got eyes and ears of my own. I can listen, I can hear, and I can see what's going on. And you take a little bit of the truth and you make it bigger than what it is and never will be, and it makes it look bad. You can do that to anybody. I could do
Yeah,
that. I could do that to anybody myself if I wanted to make you look bad on things you say. And that's what this media outlets have been doing to Trump for the get go, and they do it to everybody. I mean, every president at one time or another gets it, but how bad they get it, it depends. On the hatred you have on the other side. Some presidents have gotten it worse than others. But every president's gotten it, and on this particular case, Trump's getting it. But I think it's the vast majority of what they're after him is bullshit. I don't think he says politically the right things. I think he says some things that are pretty stupid, but overall the man's actions are different than what he says.
well, that's the thing. I mean, we have talked to people that live in Europe, and if you were to look on television today, people would say, "Oh, he's a clown. He's this. He's that." There's memes that are against him. They're trying to attack him on everything he says. I mean, you and I could talk for an hour, and somebody could find something to extrapolate to try to make us look bad and make a clip and make a thing about it. That's just how it is. And a
Yeah,
president, even more so, right?
yeah. Well, and I'm
More
not
so.
loaded up to debate a presidency and what causes him a good president, not president. But
Yeah.
I am loaded with enough to know that if you're innocent, you're innocent, and people should not be getting killed for doing something good or being involved in something good, and they got killed because of someone that created a mess that they got stuck in that wasn't their fault. That I can talk about, but with expertise, obviously, because it's common sense. Hey, I was just standing in line protesting with my friends, and next thing you know, I get hit with a baton and wasn't expecting blah blah blah. Next thing someone's looking over me and paying for my burial. Because I was happened to join that I thought was a good cause, but little did I know someone was going to do something that created more than what it was. So my thing is, if you're not prepared to protest and understand what can happen in these protests, I wouldn't go.
You get to really look at the media with a keen eye. There's so much spin. There's so much spin. So many fake stories, clickbait. Chops, cuts, pieces, misdirection. Even we see it in MMA. We see something. Habib said this. He's ready to throttle this guy, and you read like, no, he said he'd like to grapple with him or something. You know what I mean? It's like how things can get taken out of context. You've seen that in MMA, right, Huff?
Of course, happens
Just
happens in everything. It's just a matter of calling it out, identifying or understanding it.
well, we hope that people out there start seeing the true situation, that you stay safe, that somebody gets a handle. If you have some kids or family members out there doing the wrong thing for the wrong reason, maybe pull them aside and tell them, this is not the way to go. This isn't going to help any.
Yeah, go do the protest, but do it the correct way.
Yeah.
Do it the peaceful way. Do it the way it's meant to be. Don't hurt anybody's business and don't hurt other individuals. And right, if they're listening to me, the vast majority, because they fuck you, that's what they're gonna say to me. They ain't gonna give a shit. Bottom line, they're gonna do what they're gonna do. And you know what? The problem is, I do give a shit. I don't want them to do it, and
Right.
that's why I'm saying it. So they may not care, but I care enough to say, please, stop.
Yeah. You can do better things with your life. You can do productive things. You can change things. You can change the world. There's more powerful things to put somebody's energy towards. That's for sure. How I was looking at this whole situation. It goes in circles forever. We see the bouncing ball. Look over here, it's this. Look over here, it's that. Look over here, it's that. But just to wrap it all up, if there's somebody paying protesters to push an agenda, shouldn't he be complicit in all the crimes that are happening? Shouldn't he be taken before the court for causing all this chaos? I think
If
so.
they can catch him 100%, yeah, because
Yeah,
he's just as guilty. I mean, hey, he may have not put the gasoline out there, but he's the guy that lit the match. So yes, or vice versa. He may not lit the match, but he put the gasoline in strategic places. So either way, yeah, they're actually more guilty than the individuals that got conned into getting paid to do it.
yeah,
Because listen, I'm sure someone is not being told, "Hey, go kill people." I'm sure they're not doing that. I'm sure no one's doing that.
right.
But if you're creating something that causes someone's death, you should be responsible for it.
Well, psychologically, a crowd has been proven easy to turn if you raise enough hype and energy and this momentum and this groupthink in the middle of it. That's how they're easy to manipulate those situations. Very dangerous. Freud talks about all this, but I'm not going to get into that. Let's talk about the fights this weekend. Tyron Woodley, he was out there. It looked he wanted to make a comeback, but it looked like Gilbert Burns had another thing coming. He put a lot of pressure on him. Man, he came at him fast and he came at him early. Were you surprised by that fight, or because we both said I said Tyron,
I thought Tyron by a slight margin. I had said slight margin, and I said depends on what happens. But I was not surprised, but I was surprised. In other words, I wasn't surprised because of his performances. The last three have been pretty good, and but I'll be honest with you. What I was surprised is that Tyron didn't quit. He should. Most normal fighters would have quit after the first round beating. He never did, and he never even at the end he never quit. He just could never get on his groove. Gilbert just didn't let him get on his groove. He kept initiating the attack, putting the pressure, doing everything MMA related, taking them down the whole bit. Whereas Woodley was looking for the one shot to open up to start him going, and he never stopped looking for the one shot. And he tried to do what his corner instructed him to do. He did. He tried it, and he's got a great corner. They've gotten great advice. It's just that for whatever he was doing, it wasn't working, and whatever Gilbert was doing, it was all working. So it's just a matter of did Woodley show up? Yeah, I say he did. Compared to the last time when he lost the title, I don't think he showed up on that one as much as he did this one. He was in this one. He was in it to the end. So even at the very end, you couldn't tell me that he didn't want to win. He still wanted to win at the very end. He could tell that he was still looking for that shot. It just didn't happen, and he got his ass whooped. Really, to be honest with you, but he never quit. Never quit on himself, and he never quit on his coaches. And I mean, if you're gonna lose, I guess me as a coach, that's the way I'd want my fighter to lose, like the way he did. Like he never quit, and he kept trying, and he kept doing what he needed to do. So if he is my fighter, I would say I'm very proud of you. I love you, and you gave what you had, and let's rebound. Let's do what we got to do, because he did. He did everything I felt that he could try to do, and just Gilbert it was his night, and it may be his night forever. Who knows? But it's definitely his night that Saturday.
I thought Gilbert came in with he didn't wait. He didn't wait around like his last few opponents. Like people were like, "Don't hit me with that super fast hammer. Don't hit me with that super fast overhand. Don't smash me. Don't smash me. I'm gonna sneak in on you." No, Gilbert's like, "I'm not waiting. I'm getting up before you can even cock the lever on the gun." He got in there early, and he had enough power to drop him too. That was pretty complete. Um, Going off to fan questions here. Mm-hmm. Okay, fan questions. Raymond Venice in round 3 against Conor. Habib stood there with him the entire round. Was that because he wanted to prove a point to everyone, or because he was tired and decided to take a round off?
No, that was to prove a point that he could stand with him, and proof. I mean, point. Proof shows he was able to stand, and I knew that he could do that. But the point is, it was too risky. I don't like risk, and that was a round. If we're not mistaken, we didn't win that round in all the judges' scorecards. So it was something I didn't want him to do. 100% did not want him to do that, but he did it on purpose, and he knew what was going to happen. Habib controls. When he's in that fight, he knows how to control the octagon, and he does what he wants to do, and he did that in this case because he knew he was up. He knew he was going to do what he did to him in the other round. He wanted to stand to let him know that I can stand with you. Don't think I can't. And that's the thing that a lot of people need to understand. He can do that to anybody. He can stand with anybody. But doesn't mean that I want him to. It doesn't mean he should, but he can.
Yep, he sure
And if you
can.
stand with the best striker in the history of that lightweight division, and that's what he did, stood with the best striker, don't tell me he can't stand with anybody.
So true. What do you make of Joe Rogan and the rest of MMA media always saying the next fight of Habib is his toughest challenge yet, or this guy's going to finally beat Habib?
Uh, I don't know. I guess they're trying to create interest, because obviously, that's what they do, and maybe they're just not Habib fans. Could very well be that they're not Habib fans. So I just look at it that they're probably not Habib fans. This is okay.
Yeah.
You don't have to be Habib fans. You're still going to destroy everybody.
Let's see. Alex for lulz. Coach, have you ever asked Habib who he wants to fight the most? I've heard him say GSP is one of his idols. I think a 170 fight between those two would be very interesting, seeing as it's a bit unfair to force George down to 155, especially seeing his older age. I've also heard that Habib originally had problems making 155, so 170 might be a bit more relaxed for him as well. Could we see him at his full non-malnourished potential? Interesting question.
155 is the last conversation that I had with Habib and his father was if that fight was to ever happen, it would be at 155, no exceptions. And that fight is something that his father wanted, Habib wanted, me, I whatever Habib wanted. I kind of wanted the Conor rematch, only because I know I mean, let's face it, the amount of money on a rematch that he would make, and the tension and the shutting everybody up, and this unfinished business. But Habib took it very personal on a lot of the things that were said about his family, his religion, and his father and his manager. And you know what? I can't blame him for that. He may never ever fight him again for those reasons, and he has a very strong right to not want to. And whatever he does in regards to that, I'm going to be with him. Whatever he wants to do, I'm behind him, because I don't make my fighters do anything they don't want to do. And if it's GSP, it will be at 155. And yes, Habib wants that fight, and he won't be malnutrition like he won't be down in weight. But the person that actually would hurt was George, so it wouldn't be a fair deal for George. George would have to do a trial cut before he would even actually attempt that. So I don't know. We'll see. I mean, if both can do it safely, I mean, that would be the fight to have for sure.
Let's see. Good evening. My question might be a little bit confusing from Ignacio Nimerich, but here it goes anyways. How many rounds could Habib go effectively before he's actually tired? We as spectators have never seen him lower his hands. So if you had to put a number of how many rounds he could go at intensely and always bring to the table, what do you think that would be? Thank you very much.
I think we could probably get him in the eight full good rounds against great opponents. I think the 9th and the 10th round we could potentially see some problems. Yeah, if they're continuously going.
That's an interesting answer, Hal. I didn't know that. Let's see. From Rahat Chowdhury, how different would Habib's grappling wrestling look if he fought in an open field?
The same.
Yeah.
Just he wouldn't use the fence as the bounce back to get in on him, because he'll use different attacks. I mean, it's not the man's got so many different ways of taking him down. He just doesn't have just one way. He's got many different avenues for takedowns, and we work on specifically certain drills that he's mastering all the time. So keep thinking that you got to stay near the middle of the ring, and that way Habib won't be able to take you down. Go keep thinking that.
Come out to the cornfield. He'll press you up against the hay bale. No, but why is Habib and his cousins fight on the same card every time? Imagine one of them distracts Habib's performance in the night. Is Coach Javier happy with the decision of them fighting on the same card?
Yeah, I am, but you're correct. It stresses him out, and he keeps asking for it though. It's Habib who does this. He says after the Abu Dhabi with Zubaira and Islam, and he fought. He said, "Coach, I'm not doing that no more. It really bothered me. I couldn't handle it. This and that." I said, "Okay, well, you're the boss. You can control that, you know." And next thing you know, Coach, I want to put Islam and Umar on my card. What do you think? What do you think? I'm going to ask Dana. What do you think? And I said, "Well, that's what you want." He goes, "Yeah." I go, "What about the nerves?" He goes, "It's okay." I said, "Well, okay, no problem." So yes, he does get nervous, but yes, it's his doing. It's him wanting to do that. He can easily change it and not have him there, but he wants family there, and those are his family. And so I will always support him when he wants it there, and I always will support him when he doesn't want him there. So either way, I don't lose. So I keep him intact all the time because I'm not going against his wishes and what he wants. But I will bring it out like I did. Last time you said it bugged you too much. You can handle it? He goes, "No, no, I can handle it." I said, "Okay, I'm expecting you to handle it. Don't be telling me you got all nervous again because you're allowing this to happen." So as long as you point out things, it's okay. And I'll point out something that's perfect example. Justin Gage's coach, Trevor Whitman, man, he's a great coach. Justin is doing fantastic going in, almost has Tony out, and he was going to go into psycho mode per se. And his coaches, remember what happened to you last time, you know? So blah blah blah. Listen. So what does he do? He listens. He does exactly what his coach does want him to do. Sorry, what the coach wanted him to do, and he did
Hmm.
exactly a great fight because he listened to his corner. If he didn't listen to his corner, who's to know what would have happened? Maybe what happened at the end of that second round, maybe he would have got that at the beginning of the third round, and he would have got clipped again. And we see the opposite. We see Tony was his hands raised. That easily could have happened, but it's the game plan that he stuck to. He didn't deviate whatsoever. And then unfortunately on Tony's side, they didn't quite have an answer. And I don't think, personally speaking, that I don't think he was getting the right advice. And I think that even listening to Eddie Bravo, who I think is a great guy, and I think he's a great coach, I just think he has to, put it in his head that he's a great coach, and he can take control of it. But when you're feeling like you don't belong in there, that right there, even if you did belong in there, the fact that you say you don't belong in there, then you shouldn't be in there. And so that
Hmm.
I think that was a screw up there for them because that energy is bad now because he didn't feel good. And like I said, I think he's selling himself really short. I think he's a lot better than he thinks he is, and he could very easily be one of the best out there.
When will the gym be open for athletes, or when do you want it open by? Thank you, Coach.
Well, I'm opening now for select few people that have fights, but it's only for select people that have fights, and we're closed for business. So basically, it's costing me money to be open, and it sucks. But these guys have to fight. Where they can't fight on the street, train on the street in the parks. So very few people are in here, and we open up and we close. We don't. There's not open for anybody, and no one can come in here.
Any projected date?
No. I'm thinking, man, I don't know. It could be June, could be July, could be August.
Hmm.
I hope not September, but I'll just say this. We could reopen June, July, or August. So it's
Yeah,
one of those.
there's the best answer. Mohammed Matri, hi, Coach. Do you think Woodley's age affect him in his fight against Burns? When is someone too old to be doing MMA at lightweight or welterweight? Stay safe from Morocco.
I don't think it affected him too much. Maybe the layoff, 100%. The layoff, 100% affected him, 100%. How much I don't know because he looked pretty goddamn good. It just, and this is one of those situations where we should be talking about how great Gilbert looked more so than how bad Woodley looked because Woodley didn't look bad at all. So this is one of those cases where legitimately it's a matter of how good that the other guy looked and how good he actually is. So not this scenario where, oh man, Woodley could have done better. I think he did pretty damn good, but I just don't think it was his night. And if they fought again, maybe it's his night. Maybe he hits off, with Burns and he hits him and he knocks him down, and then the tide stays that way. That's what happened in this one. He got hit, the tide never changed. So who knows if they fought again? Woodley can hit him, the tide changes and it goes in Woodley's favor. I mean, but he's definitely not at that age where he should quit. As long as he's still healthy, strong like he was, he could fight to his early 40s. I think he can, but I don't
Yeah.
think past like 43, 44. If you don't take care of your body, I think that's going to be a drastic fall.
Yeah, that's well, I guess the guy was asking in regards to weight because it must be hard to maintain a certain weight as you get older. You put on some pounds, so it's hard to stay perfect, I guess,
Yeah.
depending on your body size. Let's see, Tariq Kozik. We know how good Habib's wrestling is, dominating on top, but I saw some great grappling from back when he get taken down by Trujillo. I also saw it in some of his sambo fights. So how good is Habib on his back? Number two, how good are Habib's kicks? And you say his boxing's improved greatly. What about his head kicks?
Habib on his back, he's probably the number one submission fighter I've ever seen that has spent the least amount of time on his back ever.
Mm-hmm.
He's on his back, freaking the most I've seen is maybe 10 seconds at the most.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how much time he spends on his back. So if that doesn't tell you how good his back his ground game is, I don't know what will. he never there, never, never, never,
I've
never,
seen
never.
him submit some people from his back. There's a big toolbox there. That's all I can
He's
tell
got
you.
a humongous toolbox, but he's never on his back.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one. His head kicks, non-existent. We're working on him, and it's still a work in progress. He kicks at least. His boxing is always evolving. His boxing, whether you believe it or not, is actually lower level, pro level, lower level. Like real low level, professional, like four rounder type boxer level. It really is, and how I know is you base it on who you're sparring with. So I have him spar with some of my pro boxers. One of them is 10-0, as a pro boxer, and Habib handles him just boxing alone, no problem, zero problem. So don't sell yourself short on Habib's stand-up. Everybody seems to think, man, this was how many years now? How many fighters fight and improve all the time? They don't stay the same. Habib's been with
28 times.
2012. Guys,
Yeah.
that's 8 years of learning how to box. World champions are made between that and this time all the time,
Yeah.
between those times in boxing. So, even though Habib doesn't focus on striking as much as he should, but still, regardless, world champions are made in that period of time of training just boxing. So his boxing's improved tremendously. But like you said, head kicking, it's there, but I wouldn't put my money on it.
Here's one. AR 373. Coach, has Usman Nurmagomedov ever trained with you?
Usman's never trained with me. He was supposed to come. He couldn't get his visa in time, and then that's when the Abu Dhabi thing happened, where Habib went over there. So Usman was going to meet us over there, and apparently, you know what happened. So the
Mm-hmm.
whole pandemic screwed us all, and this thing is horrible, and yeah, pandemic strike took out the whole.
First of all, thank you so much for these podcasts. I really enjoy it. Kind of a personal question I would really appreciate an answer. What were your thoughts? It says realigned, but I believe it's reign. On your thoughts on the reign of Islam before he met Habib? What did you think about his career before, I guess, is a better way of saying that.
Well, they're kind of linked together. So when I
Yeah.
met both, I mean, they're like brothers. If you look at their history, they're like little childhood buddies. They're hanging out. Habib being the older brother, and he's been with Islam forever. So for me, it was always going to be one of those deals where Habib is the leader, and eventually Habib moves on, and he gives the reins over to his little brother, per se, if you want to say that. I mean, they're like brothers, like legit brothers, though they're not, but they love each other just the same. So I can see Habib 100% giving the reins to Islam because he doesn't want him to not become a world champion. And so within 3 to 4 fights, I see Islam being there, and I also see Habib potentially giving up that responsibility of holding the title and letting Islam fight for it. I can see that. That could definitely happen.
This is kind of mixed in with some of the other stuff you just said, but from Huzaifa Chaudhry, will there ever be a time we can see Habib stand-up game again like we did against Conor and Al? Will you let him stand up against Justin?
You'll see it only because he wants to do it, not because I want him to do it. I don't want him to do it. I never want him to do it, and I don't care what people say because number one,
Mhm.
if he can smash you and he can take you down and smash you, and you don't have an answer for that. Well, what the hell do I want that exciting fight for? He's exciting on the ground. He smashes people. He talks to them. He's very entertaining on the ground. So just because he doesn't show that he has a good stand-up game doesn't mean that he should. If he's destroying you on the ground, destroy him on the ground until they find a reason for him to stand. I don't want him to ever stand. Unless we find somebody that, hey, Habib, this guy's getting up real easy. We got to tenderize him a little bit more. Let's keep his stand-up. Well, that's never happened. The game plan is still not to go in like that, especially with this next fight. If it is Gagey, we're definitely not going in to stand with him, and Gagey's not going in to take us to the ground. They're both bad on both of our ideas. It doesn't favor us to stand with him, and doesn't favor him to take us to the ground. So he's going to defend the takedown. We're going to look to impose our will and get that takedown, and that's just the way it's going to go.
This is an interesting one, kind of plays into what's going on. Gus the God. You're a person a lot of people look up to as a role model. Will you and some of your team make a public appearance, bring tranquility to your community in these tumultuous, temporary circumstances? Thanks, Coach.
Depends on the situation. I'm kind of more like low key. I mean, just the fact that I'm talking on the podcast about these bad things, that's amazing for me because I'm normally not the one that goes out there and, hey, chill out, chill out. I just kind of stay in my own lane. And being in my own lane, the best thing I could do is preach the good word versus the bad word, and being out there in the front of everything, which create more drama for me not being there. So yeah, I mean, I'm more the opposite. I'm not the guy that's going to run to these protests and, okay, I want to help, or I want to help deter people and this and that. I don't put myself in those situations. That's not in my heart to do that. But I definitely, I'm all for the rallying and the protesting. I'm all for that. I'm just not for the violence and the destruction of property, and then human lives being taken. I'm not for that at all. Never will be.
Here's a question. What's it like in San Jose now? I guess that means COVID, riots, all that stuff. What's it like in San
Um,
Jose?
Well, from where I am, I live in Hollister, so I drive like 1 hour to get to the gym. I'm here in the gym 2 hours, then I go drive back home. So I'm in Hollister. I'm never in San Jose, but I heard there was riots the other day and maybe the other day, and so yeah, I heard it's not too fun being out here right now. And I'm not in the area where there's any riots, but if I was, I'd be honest with you, I'd probably be watching that no one tries to break the windows at the gym and whatnot, things of that nature. Because you got to protect your property, and not everybody sees the value of what you have, nor do they care. So hey, if they can destroy your windows or destroy your property or burn your building, hey, they did it all for the good cause, which is really not the good cause, because the good cause is to get justice and to make sure that these things do not happen in the future. And I think that there's going to be a big change in how they handle things, because they continue doing this, and it gets caught on video again, a mistreatment of any human being being enforced by police officers that's doing what they did. It's going to go really bad. It'll go worse than this time around if it ever happens again.
Coach, what's your official opinion of COVID-19 narrative peddled by the World Health Organization and Bill Gates? Conspiracy time.
Uh, my feeling on that is, I think, is man-made. I think that this disease is so smart that we don't know everything about it, and every time we think we know something about it, something changes it. I think that this disease was engineered by who, I don't know. I think, but it was man-made. I really do believe that. I 100% in my heart believe it was man-made, and I think the CDC. I think I have read a letter where they got it from the government, the U.S. of A. That fired them, more or less, because they said, "Hey, you did not warn us in time. You had adequate information to let us know about this pandemic, and you decided to hold it. And why, we don't know, but you decided to hold it, and you released it to us, like I believe it was February, that it was like a real deal, that the U.S. did not have ample time to react to this, and so basically, fuck you, CDC. You know, you
Well,
caused all.
the WHO, the World Health Organization, where we were paying more money and the Chinese were paying the least, but they seem to have the most influence. Like we were paying hundreds of millions to their tens of millions.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is they're the
Yeah,
ones that had the information. We're paying them, but they
yeah,
had the information and they didn't give it to us.
yeah.
I have the letter. I had someone sent me the letter, and I read the damn thing, and I said, "Wow." So
Well,
they knew. They knew about this. They knew about this. They knew, and then they didn't give us. They didn't give us the warning that we needed. You know. And now look what's happened. The whole world, you know, trillions of dollars are worth and done. You know, because of why? Because of money. Again, money. This whole world. I don't know.
yeah,
I need to just relax and chill out
yeah.
because
You need to relax.
like
Well,
this whole thing about greed and
yeah.
money. The human life is worth more than any amount of money. And you know, when you don't care about human life and you look to take human life and you're okay with it, how can you be okay with any one person losing their life? Shame of
Hmm.
yourself if you're okay with it. And then because you made millions, you know, or billions, you know, or trillions, who knows, you know? I just think it hurts. It hurts to see people lose their loved ones when they didn't have to, you know, because of greedy motherfuckers.
Well,
Yeah,
you
and I'm
look at.
cussing because it does make me angry because they are greedy
Mhm.
motherfuckers.
I
And you know
agree.
who you are. I don't know who you are, but you know who you are.
Right. Well, you got, when they bring up Bill Gates, here's a guy that started a computer operating system that he bought from another guy and then licensed it and became a billionaire and hired all the other people to keep inventing on top of that platform. Smart business, but he didn't invent the light bulb. It's like he bought it off of Edison and ran out and put it in all the stores. And then now here he is dealing with the pandemic, and there's rumors about he wants to get the vaccine and chip us, put chips in us to track us, and crazy conspiracy. That's what I think what their question was in regards. So I'm
What
like,
I
what?
think about his conspiracy theory,
Yeah,
uh, if it's true, shame on him. You know, all those billions, and you know, you don't gotta live that much longer, dude. And you're doing this to try to control people. I
yeah.
mean, I've been hearing about this for a while about the controlling of people and how they're doing it with the chips and how he's been funding these things and you know, and I guess if you think about it, he's donating all his money to make more money. So he's not donating money, you know, he's getting the tax write off, you know, but at the same time too, what he's creating is creating ways to making more billions.
Hmm.
How
Well,
many
that's
billions?
that's that's a great deception with any wealthy person throwing a highly publicized charity, which is basically an advertisement and a tax write-off where they will eat the finest lobster steak, take a private plane, stay in a resort, maybe win some door prizes, and write it off.
Yeah,
Because,
when you
you know,
figure if he's funding all these projects, is how much of them, how much control is he of these projects? I don't know. I don't know.
yeah.
I have no idea. All I just know is that you know he is funding a lot of these projects, and you know I do know that I don't know what's the reason why he's doing them. So it could very well be for what people are saying. These are just allegations. They're not. There's no
Mhm.
proof of any of this. You know. So I don't know. I don't know.
Theoretically, what do we really know? What we do know is, why does a guy who's ruthless businessman become the Mother Teresa of save the planet and save everybody with his medicine? It's just too strange math. You know what I mean? Um, would you be surprised if Habib KO's Justin? I won't be.
Of course not. Not at all. I wouldn't be surprised if he KO's Justin. The only person I'd be surprised if I be KO'd me.
Yeah.
He
Yeah,
has
yeah.
hit me. He's hit me a few times right in the chin.
Oh, well, you were like, oh, I needed coffee before we did these
Well, I'm
fads.
like this, you know, and I'm going, well, Habib, the glove's right here, but you hit me here. How the heck does that happen? He's like, he goes, well, I go
Uh,
home. Okay, well, yeah, he's hit me a few times right in the chin.
I get that video of the other guy punching your pad off your hand. Maybe that's a good clip. But this is good rapping with you, Hav. Get to share some heavy things. Feel free to share your ideas, people. Hav and I are just guys taking a look at everything that we see. We're not like hardlined in that. We're about the world of sport, but it's about caring about people and making sure that people don't get mistreated. That's the bottom line in the message here, and
That's basically the message: is let's be good to each other, man. Let's see what's real is real. And for those of you that want to protest, and you're doing it the right way, I'm all for that, and continue doing what you're doing. For those that are looting, robbing, and those that are paying the people to go do that, shame on you. You know, shame on you.
I agree. Well, it's been a great podcast, everybody. We will catch you on the next round.